Yeah, that's right. Hi there. Let's see. I'm gonna take. Yeah. Hello. Hmm. Knock. Cheryl.
Hey.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you are. How are you doing?
Oh, great.
Good. All dressed up. Look at you two. Beautiful.
I need more light. There you go. I need your glasses. Yeah, I do.
I'm so proud of you all. Oh my gosh.
Slide on in here.
You all could actually have separate shows, separate programs. There's a lot. What I'm going to do is just, there you go. Now I can see you better. There.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is just, since this is the final series for the spring 2021, I'm just going to review, just go through some of the background information of how it started. And then I'm going to go right into your background. So sure, what I'm going to do is to do Knox first after I welcome you both to the platform. And then I'm going to do Knox first and ask him the questions. And then I'm going to do yours because both of you have almost separate directions, but then you come together. So as part of that leadership, I want you to really focus on those leadership qualities and things that you have basically led, over the years that brought you to this point in life.
Yeah. You made me think about it. I had to think back on that one, girl. And it's amazing how you think back the little things that you never paid attention to at that time that led you to be in that leadership position. Amen. And I never thought about it. It just came back.
Is there another light, Cheryl, you can put behind you? It's a little dark.
Let me see. Try to.
Or, yeah, that's good.
Good.
That's good. And Enoch, is there a shade behind you in that window?
Yeah.
Oh, you can pull it down. Oh, is it already down?
Yeah, we're gonna put some.
Okay. Okay, that's fine.
Let me change it the other way.
Cheryl, you're looking marvelous. Look at you.
Thank
you, Karen.
You are.
I think which way left light coming
It's
from.
the same. This
It's
is
the
not
same.
the blackout.
You want me to put some under the shade?
No, that's fine. I just want to make sure I can see both of your faces. Yeah.
I wonder if we turn the computer around somehow.
No.
To block out the window? Okay.
Just hold it.
That's nothing up there, girl.
Okay.
I know Knox says he's already set up now. Oh, that's perfect. Oh, that's perfect. Scoot over, Knox. Oh, that is really perfect. Cheryl, and you know what? That picture is so pretty in the back. You guys want to scoot over just a little more or turn it a little bit more?
Okay, hold on.
You do that while I see this.
I have a system set up like mine. I have one computer over the top, another computer because my printer is not working. I ran out of ink. And so when you see me looking up, I'm just looking at the other computer. And I hope it holds up.
I don't know, that's probably the best I can do because I just squared it over on the corner.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's pretty. Those colors are really pretty. Yeah. Yeah, they are really pretty. Well, I'm really excited about it. At 6 or 7:20, I should say, I'm going to activate the Facebook page so that we can start at 7:30. So, yeah, I try to get all the conversations I can get in before I turn on.
You hear the dog?
Yeah, but that,
I'm gonna put it downstairs.
Okay.
Oh, you don't have to. Is he afraid?
It's something she's barking at, but we can't figure out what.
Oh, yeah. How are you feeling?
I'm doing okay. I went over to help.
Walking at Asia.
Oh, Asia. That Asian know me on the interview.
I just told him.
Okay, so she won't come busted in. Yeah, we went up to help Barbara with the food pantry today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That was our, I had Asia's friend and Bunny.
As I was talking to Enoch and Reverend Shirl, I was seeing that, you could actually have separate chat room discussions because both of them have such a wealth of knowledge from the business world, entrepreneurship, ministry world, reaching out to the community. So we're going to have an opportunity to really just dive deep into their life experiences and learn lessons from them so that we can be successful in our life experiences as well. So I'm going to start with Mr. Enoch Love, give you a little bit of background, and he will tell you all about himself in just a second. He studied at Northern Virginia Community College and Lord Fairfax College, as well as VCU, which is Virginia Commonwealth University. Military, he served in the military as a culinary specialist. He worked at UPS. Now listen to this. This is impressive, the many positions he's held. He's gone from car washer to driver to operations supervisor, marketing supervisor, accounting manager, human resource manager, management training manager, safety and compliance manager, and congressional contact manager. He is also the CEO of Enoch Love Incorporated. He has a civil appointment to the Virginia Lottery Board. He also serves on the Daily Planet, which is his homeless service provider. He's president of the board and interim director of the Daily Planet as well. And also he serves on the North Carolina AT&T School of Engineering Board. So, Mr. Enoch,
Yeah.
please share with us your background and how your experiences positioned you from corporate promotions, appointments to board of directors and entrepreneurship with your racing car company and transportation company. Just share with us your experiences and how that has changed your trajectory over time.
Well, Karen, you made me think. You made me have to think about that. And I never put a whole lot of thought on what my gift was until you made me think about it. And it goes back even when I was thinking all the way back when I was a child, a youngster, when I was a Cub Scout, a little thing like patrol leader. I didn't ask for it. They thought I could do it. Boy Scout, the same thing. And when I got in school, playing basketball, baseball, all of a sudden I'm the captain of the team. I didn't ask for it. People said, "You're it. You follow you." And I said, "It must be." Thinking then, that's probably where the core of leadership that I was, the gift that I was given by God. That was a gift. And I remember in one of the classes I was training, we had a debate: is leadership is it a God gift or is it trained? And knowing my inquisitive self, I looked at both sides, and I just said it's debatable because I could win it on either side. But with life, as I look back, thinking what you were saying, look back and find out what your greatest asset in life is, and that seemed to have been it. I mean, everywhere I went, in the military, didn't ask for it. They put me in charge of things, and it's just that leadership thing. And as I grew, like you said, you show where I went to. I worked at General Motors that was the most boring job I ever had. It was the highest paying job in Baltimore in the whole place, but it was boring. And I said, I got to have something different. But they asked me to be going to management, but I didn't see a future there. And for the young folk that's looking, everywhere that I went for a job, I researched that company. I researched GM in their assembly facilities, what was available, where you could grow. And most folks stayed their lifetime doing the same thing. That just didn't fit. And when I left there, interesting. You talk about scope research. That was an electronic research company. I went there to visit a friend, and I was living in Baltimore, and he said, "Hey, why don't you come work here?" So I interviewed with, I went to Human Resources and interviewed, and the lady looked and she said, "With your education, we don't have anything available with a janitor's job." I said, "No, I don't need that. There's no growth. There's no opportunity for me in that." Fellow was walking by named Dick Acton. I said, "What does he do?" And she said, "Oh, he's the planning director." She called him over, said, "Dick, talk to him." I said, "Dick, what made you so special to get that job? College education?" He said, "Yeah." "But did you know anything about it before you got there?" He said, "No." "So somebody taught you?" He said, "Yeah." "So why can't I learn the job that you got?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, "But we don't have an opportunity." I said, "Fine, if you ever get an opportunity, here's my phone number, call me." And I'm going to front row to visit my parents. When I got to front row, there was a telegram saying, "You're hired." I said, "Okay." And I called him back. I said, why did you hire me?" He said, "You said you could do the job." And I told him, after 30 days, if you give me 30 days and I don't show improvement, then you don't have to fire me. I'll leave. You can tell me to go in. He said, "But you never asked me how much you paid. I figured the job was worth it. You pay me what the job was worth." But those little things and that place there, I learned I was looking for myself. I was trying to find me, where I wanted to go. And the places, like trying to find that thing that satisfied my thirst for a profession. Found out after being there a couple of years and going through all of the, as an expediter, then a controller, and then had a big shakeup and laid off all the senior planners and gave me their work. And I said, "That's interesting." I talked to Dick. I said, "Dick, what can I do to get your job. I've gone up to purchasing, I've learned purchasing, and I've got this old habit. It's just like life itself. What you do, how it affects other folk. And at work, I learned I had to go find out how purchasing affect my job here, and with the engineers, all had to learn their job, so I know the effect. And they ask me a question, I can answer. But I could feel how I made a mistake would affect them. But then we were designing the SOPs, and it said in the standard operating procedures, I had to have a minimum of 2 years college to get the promotion that I needed in that job. That carried me back to Nova, we called it Nova Cocoa back in the day, Northern Virginia Community College. And they get there, and then all of a sudden, all the things just started working out pretty good. And I just looked around and said, God has gifted this. He's opened doors that I never knew existed, that they were always there. Because most times, like when I was an athlete, they said, you're too short, you're too small. People always tell me what I couldn't do. And that just puts a chip on my shoulder, and I can show them I can if I want to. But that's where we got to. That's where I ended up getting to UPS. I went to school, and I went there for a part-time job, big fro out here like this. And I got rid of my suit and tie. I'm with the latest thing, and talked to this guy named David Withers, and I wanted a part-time job. And he told me about, oh, this is a good company. You don't need a college degree. You can go all the way up to the president of this company. It's just hard work and good ethics. You'll get there. And I said, let me think about it. So I went researched UPS. And so I saw the whole history about it. And he was accurate about it. So he said, but you have to start off at the bottom. And you have to cut that thing on your head down to a little shrub. That's what we call it. I said, and you have to cut your beard. I said, that's fine. But you told me that if I worked hard and I can make it all the way through the company. He said, yeah, you remind me of a friend of mine named Cal Tyler, and he's a vice president. And he said, I can look at you and you give me a year and I'll put you in the management. But you have to start off and show you can do the job. Well, we did, and car wash, porter, driving tractor and trailers. And he, after 1 year, he said, oh, I'm ready to call you up. I said, no, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. But after 4 years, his commitment was true. So I sat down and made my 5-year plan. 5 years, I'm going to do this. I'm going to all these, and for promotion, I had my plan all the way up to corporate. And I had little roadblocks, little stumbles, but it worked. It worked because then the leadership when it came in, and I'm thinking about it now. It was that I was learning from back then, and what my parents instilled in me about always being, especially my dad, always be 100%, give 100% no matter what it is. If you're a cook, be the best cook. If you're a janitor, be the best janitor. Don't go in there. If you hate the job, do the job and be the best of it, goodness to come out of it. And those little things, and just research. Always research that next move. Knowing your futures down the line. Know where you want to go, and don't be discouraged if you don't get there as quick as you think you need to. But if that's your goal, and that's the way I did through all obstacles, and it was an interesting career. And left off one other thing, I was also the first diversity manager, and that was a chore. But anyhow, but all of those things happened. Did I reach my goals at UPS? My final goal, no. But was I successful? I felt successful. My goal in operations or wherever I went, I wanted to train, especially on the leadership side, because that's where I wanted to train all of the people that worked with me and bring them up to a level and let them go beyond where I was. And that was my whole goal. And UPS was a good branch. I mean, great company to work for, great benefits. They had some little hiccups there now and then. We had some discussions about what I didn't like, but that's part of what I needed to do to keep my life going. And the things you learn while I was there, I also went to Dale Carnegie as a student to try to find out if I could better myself and whether then they tried to hire, I went there, they tried to hire me as one of the teachers, one of the instructors there after I took the course. And I asked myself, no, what do I do that's so different? People there saw something in me that I couldn't see. And it's just like everywhere I went, join the board. You spoke about the board on Daily Planet as homeless service provider. I was on that board for 13 years. I started just being on the board and working with them and doing things. And now next thing I know, the guys, one of the presidents said, look, I need you as my vice president. I said, man, I've got so much on my plate. I'm working for the governor on the lottery board, and I got all this stuff on my plate. I can't do this. He said, yes, you can. And as soon as I became vice president, he quit and I had to be president. So 5 years of that and got a lot of things accomplished. And then I look back and I said, well, why do I have to do all this? But it just fell in my lap. But like it didn't fall onto me to understand until you said, I want to know what you've been doing. And I look back and these things just led there. It's just happened. I can't explain it. It's God's gift to me that I have that. That's one of the many gifts He's given me, and I never paid much attention to it.
There are a lot of things threaded through this conversation, through your narrative. I hear strategy, I hear intentionality, I hear cultural competence. I hear the values that your parents had instilled in you. And so that you knew you were very intentional about your direction and your trajectory. I see that now because you did your research and you had the confidence. And so what advice would you give the younger generation now? Because as we talked before, with the college education versus the vocational training, their return of investment. I mean, what recommendations would you give them now? Because that lack of confidence, I see that in some of the students, like, what do I do? Where do I go? How do I leverage my degree? And so when they're at the crossroads, what would you recommend? Because I hear so much, I hear the Japanese style of leadership there, your experiential training. I could go on and on. It's amazing. It's amazing. So, and your thirst, you had that thirst to learn and that thirst to research. I know I'm all over the place, but anyway, what recommendations?
Well, unlike one of my regrets in all of this was that I didn't complete my college education. However, I don't think that hindered anything that I wanted to do. However, if in today's time now you look around, every youngster ought to have a backup plan. Not everybody is college material, but even if you're college material, have a backup plan, a skill, going to a technical school, learning something. I've got a friend that back when computers weren't popular, he got his college degree, but he went back to Nova Coco, as we call it, and got computers. He became an analyst because he ended up becoming an analyst, quit his regular job with Exxon and started his own business, being a systems manager and owning the company. And you have that backup plan, but always plan. And if you don't make it on your first plan, that's not a failure, that's an opportunity. I've always taken those stumbles as not failures, but an opportunity. If I did it wrong the first time, the opportunity is there for me to correct that wrong and take a different direction if need be. Yeah. If you get a college degree, and that's wonderful, don't lose faith. If you can't get what you want, try a different path. Look for that other part, look for that other thing that you like to do. If you have skills, if you learn something about electronics, go to electronics. The day's thing now is coming up. You have to have some other abilities. You have to, and never give up. Never give up. People will always tell you what you can't do. I'm here to tell you you can do. You gotta have a can-do attitude.
If you're willing to do the work. If you're willing to do the work.
If you're willing to do the work, you gotta have a can-do.
Now, I know that your father was an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And that has filtered down to you and other family members. So can we talk just briefly about the other companies that you've started?
Yeah, well, it's amazing that I never thought about it till you mentioned it. One of my instructors always said I had a truck driver's mentality, and I didn't even know how to drive a truck. And it ends up that I was helping. I did a lot of free consulting work to young business folk, and fellow asked me to come and find out why his business was doing terrible, and he had a trucking firm contracted to Federal Express, and I looked at his books, and he was reluctant to show me his books, but I got hold of his accountant. I looked at his books, and he was all over the place. He was a business major from Madison, from James Madison. Figured he knew all the ins and outs, but he wasn't doing anything properly. And then I find out that he's deep in debt, and he was losing the business. And we talked, and he never would tell me the truth. So his accountant told me how bad he was, and then he lost the business because they wouldn't renew his contract. And I was helping him, and they called me and said, the business is yours. I said, huh? He said, I said, I don't want the business. He said, no, it's yours. He said you were trying to buy it. I said, what? So I looked into that, but I've always had that spirit. We were raised by a spirit. Michael knows. My little sister Thelma, she was a trooper and an entrepreneur, the youngest entrepreneur in the family, carrying stuff to school and selling to have money, carrying candy and stuff to school. That was it. But we had that, but it's always been instilled. It's always been instilled in us from that. And so that I got into that little business, and the second business you're referring to was the race car. That's what I've always been a car nut, and my brother Mike can attest to that. Ever since I bought my first car at 14. I bought it with my shoe shine money, my little business then. And but I've always been a car nut. And when I met Reverend Love here, I was racing my little car. And after I got married, she didn't ask me to. I just stopped racing. And I said, when I retire, that's on my bucket list that I'm going back to racing professionally. And we did. It's been a journey, and they ask me every year, "You back? You back?" But it's been good. It's not something that's going to make money. It's just my hobby. It's that hole that you dump money down in and it just doesn't come back. But it's a hobby. Watch out.
Oh, so you can name the, yeah. I like those little, you can name the holes, yeah.
Yeah.
For each one of them, yes. Well, I just want to thank you for sharing your time and experience and your life lessons. And I'm going to transfer over to Shirl now, Reverend Shirl Love. I want to tell you a little bit about her with this powerful couple, this dynamic duo with Reverend Love. Reverend Love was called to ministry and licensed in 1998. She was ordained in 2006. While attending Faith Landmark Ministry, she completed a 2-year Bible study at the Institute and became department head over the nursing homes with 32 teachers. Her life changed when she spent 2 weeks in Haiti as a missionary. Then she saw the love of God for his people, working miracle after miracles. Feeling the call to further her education in biblical studies, she attended Samuel Proctor School of Theology at Virginia Union University and received her master's in divinity. After receiving her MDiv, she served as associate minister of the Providence Baptist Church in Ashland, Virginia for 5 years. There, she held the position as the youth and children's minister. Her main focus was to develop and strengthen the spiritual growth of the children. She was enrolled at Regent University in the Doctor of Ministry program, where she has completed all the coursework. She developed a great interest in transformational leadership coaching while studying at Regent University and received certification in life coaching. To further her studies in coaching, she took a class in gifting to enhance the value of her coaching experience. Reverend Love has held workshops in various areas in Virginia, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Cary, Illinois. One of the greatest rewards she has received from life coaching is helping others to get to that aha moment about themselves. While serving at Prevailing Word Ministry, she served as assistant to the pastor, the youth pastor, and on the senior leadership team. She preached, taught, and was the spokesperson as part of the church's radio ministry. Then as a member of St. Paul's Baptist Church in Richmond, she served as on the shepherd staff team at the Elm Street campus located in Petersburg, Virginia. She also serves as a team lead in the intercessory ministry as well. She is the founder of Shared Ministries. And the purpose of this organization is to assist women in transformational development. And as a result of the program, the participants assisted in the design and the development of programs to train other women in transformational growth. She is also the co-founder of a nonprofit organization that works within Petersburg, Virginia, with women ages 30 to 55, children ages 7 to 12, and men 50 years plus. The purpose of the organization is to improve the quality of life for these individuals. Reverend Love is a protege of Reverend Wendy's ministry. She was in phase 1A of the program. Is that right, Reverend Love? This encounter has afforded her the ability to re-examine her journey and to begin the development, to develop her destiny for the season. And I'm going to skip down a little bit so that she can have time to talk. Reverend Love is also the wife of Enoch Love Jr., the mother of Enoch Love III. She has 2 grandchildren, Laisha Denise and Enoch Love IV. She says, I have a charge to preach and to teach, but I can't do it without the anointing of the Holy Spirit. If he is not there, then I do not want to go. For his spirit joins with our spirit to affirm that we are God's children. And then finally, I have a little note here, just 1 second. Okay. So Reverend Love also served, her ministry service included working with women in the 21st Center, which is a homeless shelter for women. She served in the underserved community, teaching them how to grow a garden and supply fresh vegetables in a desert place. Served in the Parks and Recreation Department, teaching children life lessons. Served in the Men on the Front Porch Ministry, and worked with the governor of Virginia for reconstituted men for voting rights. Welcome, Reverend Love. There is a lot. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you? And hello, everyone.
Yes, I'd like for you to talk about your ministry transition, because that is, as we're listening to Mr. Love, he talks about how God has gifted him. And you have your MDiv, and so from the spiritual development, you can break it down a little bit more for us, how God plays an integral part in our being, our very existing, right? And so I would just like for you to talk about yourself in that transition and how you have come to grow as this fabulous reverend right now in the ministry, and how God continues to use you going forward.
Well, Karen, I just believe that the Holy Spirit has always been there to guide me. Where my husband was very confident in being a leader, I just never wanted it. Right. I just wanted to do what God called me to do. But every time I found myself leading people, and so with the heart of God, I've always wanted to do it in a more excellent way. And that's why I went to school, mainly because I wanted to do things the way God called me to do it. And how would you put it? I could not define myself at that time when I first started. I just learned and I just worked in what God had called me to do. And so going to Haiti that year, it changed my whole life. Yeah. And it gave me an opportunity to minister and to pray over the Haitians. But I tell you what taught me. where I was in there praying and hoping. When they prayed, because of the situations that they were in, I knew they were talking to the Father. And I wanted to get there. And so while in Haiti, I saw blind eyes open. I saw miracles upon miracles upon miracles, and it changed my life. And so when I got back to the United States, I was determined that I was not going to work in a false religion, so to speak. And I didn't want to do things that others wanted me to do just to do it. But I needed to see the work of Christ. And so my heart was to really get to know God's people and to help them transform into a better life. Who did God call them to be? How did he equip you? What is your purpose in life? That was my whole being. And leadership was really not the forefront. It was me loving God's people and wanting to help. But I found myself often in leadership positions. And like, nah, it kind of fell in me. People would say, you got it, or you take it over. And I did to the best of my ability, not so much with the experience or excellence in it, but I just allowed the Holy Spirit to lead me through it all. And it all came from the love of God's people. So when I listened to Enoch and how his ability led him and his strength and his confidence, I didn't have that. I did not have that in me, but I certainly had it in Christ. And so when God asked me to do something, I did it regardless. And I wanted it to be in excellence. So transformation was the key to me working with others, because during that time I was being transformed too. And I wanted women and children and even the men on the front porch who did nothing but sit all day. I wanted them to know who they were. And that's how these different nonprofit organizations came to pass. I was working with parks and recreation with children 7 to 12 years old. We taught them life lessons. We taught them how to grow their own food, fresh vegetables. We taught them etiquette. We helped them to develop vision boards and begin to see them grow. And then we began to, we rented a Black-owned restaurant so that these young men and young women could have the experience of being dining in a fine restaurant and to experience what it was like to be able to teach or to, how can I say this, treat young ladies the way they should. And how to talk, their conversation to one another. It was an awesome experience. And then we had a grand tea for the young girls where we brought in women from out of state, all Black women that own their own businesses. And they sat and talked with these young girls because we wanted them to see another part of life. I always worked in an underserved community, a depressed community, and where they may not have even come out of Petersburg. Where they lived is exactly what they saw. What they saw in school, that was it. They had never had a chance to come out of the area. And so that was really people's needs was what really pushed me forward, I guess, into what God was calling me to do.
Well, that's interesting when you talk about leadership and confidence in yourself, because I do remember a particular event where your sisters and your nieces were there, and two individuals didn't necessarily get along, but they respected each other. And so there were side conversations that took place, but because of your leadership, you kept everybody together, and we all knew who we reported to. Oh, this, it was me. But there was a difference in how we interpreted the instructions, and we had our own little leadership, and interpretation, but it came together as one. And it was because of your leadership skills that everybody has moved that ministry forward. And so you never know who you're influencing. You don't necessarily have to be in front. You can always say leadership through the back door. I've done it since day one in my ministry as well. And it's just as effective. It is just as effective. So I love the fact that you decided to go to school, and both of you are researchers. You're both researchers. You decided, Lord, how can I do this better? Both of you. And that's part of the legacy. I want you to talk a little bit about the Golden Girls in the ministry there. I love the name. I just love what you all do. So just talk about that a little bit.
Pretty much, the Golden Girls are 3 golden age women. And someone in the church gave us that name, the Golden Girls. And we came together out of intercessory prayer, actually, and began to ask God, what did you want us to do? And that's when we moved to Petersburg, to the church that we were going to. They had another church, and we moved there. And this organization wanted to start ministries to the community to help them in anything we could do. But of course, we, through the church, there was a lot of red tape. We understood the red tape. So we had to move away from the church and get our 501 3C, so that we could work the work that God was calling us to do. And that's why I said one of them was Men on the Front Porch, who really got lost, and maybe through disability, but lost in the cracks. And they had, they didn't have the ability to navigate those things that social services, whatever they needed. And so we began to take those men on through cases and found a law firm that would work with us. We did the legwork, took it to the law firm, and they advocated through the court system for them. Found out that everyone we worked with received their benefits. And so there was, rewards behind all of that. And these men, they began to find their own place to live. And but I love what they did in this one house. Whatever benefits they were doing, they were bartering. I pay this, or I give this, I pay that. But they were still dependent on one another. And by the time we were finished, they were independent, and they were able to move out on their own and have places to live. Amen. So it's such a reward doing what God, called ministry. Right. It's a reward doing that. And we also worked with young women who had been incarcerated, or what is this thing? 3 times you're out and maybe facing sentencing. We worked with them also. We kept saying you need to try to reach how pick your berries from a higher branch. And that's the way we taught them. Forgiveness, life lessons, the purpose, self-awareness, self-power. We taught them all of that. And we began to see rewards coming out of that too.
So what now with the Golden Girls or with the other organizations, Reverend Shirl, what does a planning session look like? And how long does it last? Is it 1 hour or 4 hours?
Oh, that's funny because we got together yesterday. And of course, we eat first.
Yes, you have to have the
We sit
fellowship.
down and we eat, we relax, we talk. And then we have one person that that will sit down and write what we discuss. But we always come together with a subject in mind. We don't just come together to just, openly talk about different topics. We try to talk and work it out with full understanding that we will go from one step to the other. And so taking our time to write down exactly the purpose, the understanding of it, and what steps we will take to get where we want to go.
Good. Amen.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It is 7:15. I am going to give the floor to others who may want to ask you all questions. Thank you, Reverend Love.
You're welcome.
Let's see if there are any questions here.
Hey, it's Sienna. How are you?
Hi, Sienna.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good.
Thank you guys for coming out and doing this. I really appreciate it. I've only been here a short time and I'm already inspired. But my question is for Reverend Love. What is the most amazing, or I should say, what is the one thing that God asked you to do that you're like, okay, God, do I really need to do this? What was the scariest thing that God asked you to do? I guess that's our question.
The hardest thing that I had to do, I remember when I was in the doctorate program, and there was a time when I had to have discussion with two professors and my advisor at one time. I really did not think I could handle it. And I remember going into the bathroom and sitting on the floor. And I said, God, if you're with me, I can do it. And it happened. I did it. And after it was over, I said, you and me, God. It's you and me. So, I don't do anything without him. So when I talk, that's the way I really feel. But he took me through it. He really took me through it. And even a few months back, I was in the hospital. They gave me, they lost me twice on the table. I was really, really ill. But at one point, I could only move my eyes. I couldn't move my body. I could only move my eyes around. And I heard this still small voice say, you are healed. And so in the midst of all of that, that's when it really was the hardest thing to believe, because I was in so much pain and I could only move my eyes. I couldn't move anything else, but he took me through. So I would encourage everyone, when God asks you to do something and you know that it is his voice, just do it, because he's going to do it for you. All you have to do is take the action, the first step, and then he's going to show you exactly what to do and how to do it. He may not show it to you all the way to the end, but it's okay because it's the Father that's leading you. Just trust
Amen.
him. That's my
Thank
word.
you.
Trust him.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Sienna. Are there other questions? Oh, everybody's quiet tonight.
I just want to make a comment. When I was listening to Brother Love about his work experience and going in, and that was so encouraging because I thought, oh my gosh, I thought about, well, we got this thing going on anyway, with because when you said what will I have to do that job or get that job. And I remember one time working in the call center, and we had a consultant in there, and I would walk past, and I was like, I want to do what you do. And I would stand over his desk and watch him. And, at the time, I was trying to work through school and get through school and try to figure out what my direction was. I didn't want to be in the call center all my life. And so when they brought this consultant in there to work with or be their liaison in other departments, I was like, okay, I want to do what you do. And so he showed me what he was doing, and people were like, okay, why are you standing over his desk all the time? Why are you over there? Well, I was there learning. So when he went to another position in the IT department, of course, I had tried to get into the IT department, but I was informed that if and when I finished my degree, then they may consider me. Okay, don't tell me that, because you don't know me. And yes, I kept going. I kept going to school until I got that degree. But guess what? I didn't want to go into the IT department then, because I was the consultant over 2 call centers, and I worked, as the liaison between the other departments. So you brought back memories when you said that. And then when you mentioned, your only regret was not finishing your degree. Well, and this, well, yeah, when I finished my degree, guess what? I got laid off.
So did I, Roxanne.
Yeah, and it's like, oh my gosh. And you know what? I took some downtime. I took 3 years of downtime. That's okay. But I was like, okay, so that work experience is so important.
It's invaluable.
It is so important, and I think of the youth or the younger generation now that's coming into work, and it's like, oh God, help them, because they're so lazy. They're so lazy, and they're entitled. So I don't know with what's going to happen to get them to change, but I don't know. It's like they've learned a different lesson that working hard is not the thing to do. Work, find an easy way. And yes, there is a book out there that, what we learned in growing up, we're not going to work the same way our grandparents work. It's a little different. I forget the name of that book, but I read it. Yeah, I liked it at the time I read it. But now when I see these kids today, it's like, no, honey, y'all got to get it just like I got it. And you better work towards getting it however you can. So it just brought back to me, the memories of, it wasn't easy, when you, and I was a woman trying to get a job that only a male dominated in that position. So that was just not it, Yeah, it shut the door for me for IT, but that's okay. That was okay. But it just brought back to memory, and Now I'm on the downside. I'm gonna get ready soon to retire. I'm happy about this. I don't, no, I went back to work after I was laid off because of the restructuring of the company. And I went back to work, but now it's like, no, it's okay. I'm in a good place now. I'm in a good place and getting ready to retire, so all is well. But you just brought back to my memory that what happened then and that. It was good to go back there and come back again. But yeah, I'm grateful for the place I am now. Thank God. And I just want to mention, you mentioned with Wendy Mitchell Ministries with Shirl. Shirl is a midwife. I am one of her proteges. I think Donna is on here too. So she is training us and helping us to find our true God-given destiny, our purpose, what God has purposed in our life. So right now, Destiny Point of Richmond, she started in Richmond. So
And when you say, so when you say midwife, can you define that? Is that part of life coach or life coaching ministry? Birthing?
Us to birth our God-given purpose, our destiny. Yes.
Thank you.
So you're welcome. So when you mentioned the first stage, I thought I was in the first stage right now. So Shirl, yes, is our midwife trying to help us to find our purpose, our God-given purpose. It's not what Roxanne says she wants to do for the Lord. I pick and choose or get on all these ministries. I look one time, I was on almost every ministry in the church, and it's like I wasn't giving 100% to any of them. So I had to learn to say no, back up, and I didn't ask God. So we're walking through asking God every day, what is it that you have? So I'm so grateful for that ministry right now.
Thank you. Thank you, Roxanne.
You're welcome.
Yes. Are there other questions before they start charging me?
I guess I do have one more question. In regards to ministry and life and business, we can really glean a lot from your 40 years of marriage. And I'm appreciative of that because I'm a newlywed and I've only got 9 months under my belt. But through it all, it was, and this is the reason why I asked what was the scariest moment, because I didn't want to date my husband and I just kept pressing on because God kept leading me to it. And I can't tell you, it's been the most blissful experience that I have ever encountered. And I know that God brought us together, and I go back to the words that God had given me when we were courting each other, is like, lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge me. And so that was scary for me because I didn't want to be vulnerable or authentic. I kind of bring up your imposter a little bit when you're dating. But I guess my question is, have you guys ever had like a hard time in business or in marriage that kind of got you question what God was doing?
You want to answer that, Shirl?
Yes.
Yes. Plenty of times, out of 47 years. But I believe in the first portion of the years, I think Shirl felt that we weren't equally yoked because she didn't have any confidence in who she was and where her destiny was. And but over the years, she found, you can see, we're more than equally yoked.
Amen.
And also, the first 5 years was tough, but we made one promise to each other that we would throw out the D word, which was divorce. And I believe God was able to use that and to build us up, because Once we threw out the divorce word, and we knew that we had to come together, and even though there were arguments or whatever, we knew at the end of the day that we weren't going anywhere. We had to work it out.
Yep.
So I just say congratulations to
Yeah.
you. And another
Thank
thing
you.
I would say to you, and we're learning this now, that there are three voices that come into your mind. It could be Satan, it could be yours, it could be God's. So you have to learn his voice and trust him. And even at this time, which is very exciting, that we need to know exactly who's speaking to us. We need to. The word said that we hear his voice and his sheep follow him. And so we really need to hear God's voice and to follow him.
The magic word, but God.
Amen.
But God.
Dr.
Amen.
Stein is also a newly minted bride of a year. I think she's coming up on a year. Dr. Stein, are you
Yes,
there? There
ma'am.
you are.
Not presentable visually, but yes. And those were great words to share. And Dr. Love, Karen Love, is this the Dr.
Yes.
Shirl that we have? Shirl, I just want to let you know we have been praying for you.
Yeah.
And it's such a pleasure to meet you. So thank you for your words and both of you. It's just a pleasure. And I'm just being real quiet tonight because I'm learning how to listen so I can learn. But thank you so very much.
Amen. And
Amen.
thank you for your prayers.
Absolutely.
Great
Gloria.
family, great job. I just come in real quick and say thank you so much. Great job, Knock and Shirl. So proud of you guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Brother Mike.
Yeah, love you.
Yeah. And Karen.
Gloria.
Thank you so much for being with us today. I really appreciate your time and talking about God and the Lord and everything that you shared with us today. I do have a quick question for Mr. Love. You mentioned something about plan A, plan B, that kind of thing. If you plan something, like say you plan A, but then you have a backup plan, doesn't that tell you that plan A, you feel like you doubt yourself?
Right. It does. But that's where you reach deep in and look at yourself and understand that it didn't work. Let's try plan B, because God didn't shut that door. He kind of closed the one on plan A and left a little crack on plan B. And you have to have that faith and that confidence to attack that little crack and decide what you want to go in. And even if plan B gets a little shaky, have another thought. It doesn't just stop. You don't have to go back. Have another thought. It's that word. God gifted us all with confidence. We just have to reach back and take it. God gifted her with confidence. Shirl had very little confidence when we first met. I used to tell her all the time, give yourself credit. Give yourself credit. And now look at it. But you got to use what God gifted you with. Don't let that plan make you a failure. Let that plan be an obstacle that you can give an opportunity to go to in a different direction. And that's the only thing. And when Sienna asked a question to Shirl about what scared her the most, I've been called young in my career at UPS. I felt that I had been done wrong on a promotion, and then I went to my immediate supervisor manager and I said, look, I don't feel right about that. You didn't treat me properly on that. Now you want to put me back into operations, and I've already served. I punched that one before. Now I need to go to something different out of the control function. He looked at me and said, have you got enough strength to go talk to the district manager, my boss? Yeah, I did. Went in there, told his boss, I will go where you send me. God gave me the strength to go in that. Because I know if that was my plan A, I'm going to make plan B work. I will go where you send me, but I will not volunteer. If you want me to go back in operations on a lateral move, you send me there. But I'm going back to my job and you can tell me what I'm going to do, but I am not going to volunteer. And my boss is standing outside the door. I can't believe you told him that. I just told him the way it is. I have confidence that I've been gifted with this type of leadership. Everywhere you've sent me, I'm the change agent. I change it if it's good, and then you move me to somebody else's mistake and I correct it. God gave me this gift and you do what you got to do. And he said, a week later, he said, look, I'm going to send you down there for a week, and then we're going to promote you and send you to another operation. But that, when I walked in, I was scared to death. I did. But I said I wasn't going to let that stop. Okay. But you have to have, it's difficult sometimes, but you have to dig deep, get that confidence, and know that you have what it takes to make that move in that other direction.
Amen. Mark? I'm going to make Mark come alive.
Hey, Karen, and good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
My question was answered. The young lady asked the question about being first of all, very inspired by both your stories. Very inspirational. I applaud you for everything you've done. But I was going to ask, my wife and I are in business, you know, if they had any ground rules about, you know, two very busy people, very accomplished, doing a lot of things, you know, what ground rules do you have as a family? But I think they kind of offered up, you know, what their plan was and what guides them. So that was good to hear.
Well, I can tell you for my part, I made the mistake. Of working too many hours, too long, and forgetting and putting the work ahead of my family. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that. I thought that I had to do that to keep my family happy, but in the meantime, my family wasn't happy. Best thing you can do, set your time, and you got your hours. I think under the old Masonic rule, you got 8 hours of work, 8 hours for pleasure, and 8 hours for rest. You can find more time for your family. The family is the best thing that you got going for you. Don't abuse it by spending too many hours doing too many other things away from the family, especially work.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I would show my face, but I'm driving. I don't want anybody to call the Georgia cops on me for being on my phone.
Understood.
Understood. Yeah. But thank you. Very inspirational. Thank you.
Mark, I believe it's not the quantity of time, but it's the quality. Because everyone knows when you have a business or even running a ministry, it's going to take quite a lot of time to do it. And I was listening to the young lady about plan A, plan B. I always looked at it, plan A is I'm going to work diligently to make plan A work. I'm not even thinking about plan B while I'm working plan A. And if plan A don't work, then I'm doing another plan A, not a plan B, because I want to put all of my energy to get it, to make it work. So it's a difference. I mean, but maybe it's not a difference. Saying the same thing. But I don't do plan B. I do plan A with all my might. And plan A, if plan A don't work, and plan A again to work it as hard as I can. I want to put all my strategy where I believe I want to go. But
I also think of that as plan A, and then the other part of plan A or plan B could be part of that developmental process for things that you may need to learn as you're going through to get to that, the assignment in its totality. That's what I think about. Yeah. But I like that plan A and plan B. You never want to feel like you're wasting time, right? Yeah. Right. So I just want to give Donna Brooks an opportunity to ask a question, and I see Richard's iPads. I'm not sure who that is, but if you all have questions, feel free to ask them.
I don't have a question. I just wanted to give my junior, my midwife, love. And Shirl knows how much she means to me, and Knox is my buddy. And so I just commend you guys. You're a power couple. And Shirl, I didn't realize all the stuff that you do, that you did. And I can't wait to hear the stories of like going to Haiti and all the other stuff that you did. But you're an encouragement to me and my husband as we're going through our ministry and our journey. So I just want to tell you guys I love you, and I'm glad that Roxanne had shared this opportunity for me to learn more about you guys and continue to do God's work. And so I just want to say love you.
Love you, darling. Thank you.
Amen.
Richard's iPads, I'm not sure.
Hi, Dr. Love. This is Rick Merrill.
Oh, hi, Rick Merrill. Yes.
Now you know.
Very interesting discussion.
Thank
Enjoyed
you
it
for joining
tremendously.
in.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Now I can identify you. So you and Dr. Merrill are in two different rooms. I appreciate you both joining in. Yes.
Thank you.
Well, this concludes my spring series of Friday night chats. Of course, I'll start up again in the fall, but I am so excited about having Enoch and Reverend Shirl Love to join us into the culmination of all of the Friday night chats, because what better way to end it than to learn about life lessons and business and entrepreneurship and relationship as well, and how that all comes together under the auspices of God, what we do for God and how to glorify God in every way. So I am very, very thankful for that and very appreciative of everything that all of you've done. It's just been absolutely amazing. I'm tearing up a little bit because when I see Shirl, she did go through a bit of illness, and I'm just so glad to see her just standing there, and she looks beautiful, and we're so glad to have her. We almost lost her, but she's here now, and as beautiful as ever, and they're as beautiful as ever. And I just want to tell everybody that I was the resident counselor for Shirl and Enoch over the years, and just messing up.
He did it.
Absolutely. Actually, my husband and I are, well, I'm sisters to Shirl, and we married brothers. Dr. Michael Love and Enoch Love, we married brothers, but just a wonderful couple. And I've learned over the years how wonderful they are and their love for Christ. And even when I was going through my singlehood, they took me in so that I can figure out who I was and my identity and my ministry in Christ. So I just want to just tell you how much I love you, and I appreciate you coming on and just sharing your leadership lessons and that love that's infused in, and the legacy that you are leaving behind for your children, Friday night chats, your ministry, everyone involved. So thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. We love you.
Love you too.
All right.
God bless.
God bless. God bless you all.
Thank